right. Well, as anticipated, this was the final game of the campaign, the 2025 Orlando Bordertown Burning campaign. Final victor is Carlos and his Sisters of Sigmar. It was a wild campaign, the longest, most in-depth, most successful uh, campaign that I've ever been a part of. Very, very cool all around. Happy to see Carlos get the win. Um, so when I got there, uh, I had I had to face off with Carlos as expected, and we had set up the board. There was a sort of an elevated 1 foot by 1 foot platform, kind of in the middle of the board, and we ended up playing Weirdstone Hunt, and that thing had 2 Weirdstone on it, so we kind of generally collected towards the middle the whole time. And man, it took me a minute to get up there, but when I got up there, it was a slugfest. We just went back and forth with close combat. Um, it was wild. Uh, I kind of assumed with having so many zombies, I was gonna just get slaughtered. And I did it. What ended up happening though is the first, I think it was second, maybe the second or third round, I lost my 2 ghoul heroes. Just a ghoul hero and 1 ghoul henchman, and I only had 1 ghoul remaining, ghoul hero. Um, and I got really nervous immediately because now all I've got are zombies. I do have zombie Vivian though, which was really awesome, really thematic. Everybody enjoyed the modeling that I did. Um, Actually, I'll tell you about that. I've got it on my Instagram. The regular version of Vivian and then the zombie version. Um, I have Vivian attached to her base with a magnet, so she's got a little uh, paperclip post in her in her bottom, and it connects to a little hole in the base, and there's a magnet underneath it. So I figured I'd just do the same thing with the new model. So as I mentioned, Ruben came up with this narrative, and it was incredible, and just a uh, just a really cool storyline. And I ended up getting the model that I used for Vivian. I used Lady Annika. It's an AOS Age of Sigmar model, and I replaced the head with a zombie head, and as like kind of a scalped zombie head. I think just used like a Frostgrave generic zombie head. Um, and then I cut the dress. Lady Annika has this loud flowing dress, and obviously it's a wedding dress for Vivian, so it's all white. But I just chopped off a bunch of the tail of the wedding dress, kind of shortened it up. Uh, got it. I did the same black primer and then white, uh, but I did the white a lot lighter, so it's like a dingy kind of looking, almost really light gray. And I did a lot of mud and dirt along the bottom of her dress. I carved out her chest because obviously Wolfric ripped her heart out, so now she's got a big gaping bloody hole in her chest. Um, some blood, all over her both of her hands were injured in her fight with Wolfric too, so they both got the bloody treatment. But then also I took uh, she's got a sword in her right hand, and it's kind of pointing down. It's pointing at the ground. It's kind of pointing in front of her. So what I did was I cut the wrist and I rotated it. Uh, I rotated completely around 180 degrees. So it looks kind of like her wrist shouldn't be bending that way. So it looks kind of broken, but also has this cool effect of basically it looks like she's kind of dragging the sword behind her. Uh, and then Lady Annika comes with either this like bat wing left arm that kind of covers her face, or an actual mask. So she's holding it, and it's like a little masquerade ball kind of mask. And on regular Vivian, I took that mask hand and I turned it into an axe. So it kind of looks like she's holding the axe like under her chin, And it's got blood all over it. And so this time though, I did the mask because the idea being, Vivian is a very vain creature, and so now that she's a zombie and hideous, she's walking around holding this mask up. And I tried a little bit of non-metallic metal to make it look a little gold. It reads more as greenish yellow, so not a very effective non-metallic metal gold, but it still looks. I think it looks cool. I still like it. And I had to kind of carve the head to fit in there. And, but that was basically it. I ended up getting this whole kit just so I could do another zombie version. Thank you, Carlos, for finding out. I didn't actually remember the model that I got. And I did a really brief search and I couldn't find it. And so I was kind of like, I'm not doing this anyway. So it turns to me. But then, of course, Carlos in the Discord sent me the link for the model. He said, I think it's this. And sure enough, it is. So I got it. And I did it. So anyway, my zombies, they come up to the center. They're a little late to the show because they're obviously super slow moving. My necromancer gets off the lifesteal spell and takes somebody out of action, which is awesome. Gains a wound. And then he doesn't do really anything for the rest of the game. He eventually gets into close combat, does nothing with it, gets knocked down, and eventually gets taken out. I mean, we realized that this was going to be a route test battle. And I lost 2 guys right away. And then I immediately lost 2 more. And I was taking route tests, I think by turn 3. So also the first turn of the game, Carlos went first and he rolled the random happenings, and he got catacombs, which basically opened a hole up underneath one of his, I think it was a henchman, and it fell in and it got stuck in there for 3 turns. It came out in a random building on the 4th turn, got charged by the rat zombie, and eventually taken out of action by that rat zombie. But it was funny because he actually knocked it down when it charged him. And so I thought he was going to recover and save it, but he didn't. I stood up. The rat stood up, went last, and still killed him. Towards the middle, I mean, his slings didn't do anything. I think he had 4 slingers like in range and couldn't hit with any of them. He rolled all one. He needed like 6s and 7s to hit, but he still rolled all 1s. It was wild. I even kind of warned him there was some foreshadowing. I was like, you're rolling nothing but 1s and 2s. When it gets down to like turn 3 and 4 and we're in combat, you're gonna roll nothing but 6s. And sure enough, that is what happened. He wiped my warband. I was taking route tests by, I think, turn 4, and I passed the first one automatically because of the unholy relic. But then I just had my leadership of 7 on the necromancer, so I passed the first test with a 6, the first test after the unholy relic, and then at that point, I actually got Carlos down to his 4 models that he needed to lose. So now he took a test, and he passed it. Then the next turn, I end up taking another route test. I roll a 7, barely pass it. I shout for joy. And we go through combat, and he just 6s all day. He just wipes my warband. The only thing that's left at the end of that turn, his combat, his turn, is Ghoul Hero Lefty, and I think the zombie Chaos Marauder, who was in combat with the ogre. His ogre bodyguard, I think, got like 6 out of actions. He just ate all my zombies. But that's what I had the zombies there for, to distract him. It was effective, too effective. And then the rat zombie. And he ended up taking my necromancer out of action, which was, and also one of the dregs, Trillian, the one who previously had the broadsword of the dam. So my necromancer was the leader with leadership 7. but only because he had to be the leader. When he went out of action, the next highest leadership took over, which was Trillian, who was leadership 9. So I felt really good about that. Until he got taken out of action as well, in my turn. So in Carlos's, the end of Carlos's hand-to-hand. So my next turn, take a route test, and I'm sorry, Carlos had to take a route test before I took this last one. So I lost everything except and Trillian ended up going out of action at the end of his hand-to-hand phase. Then I took a route test with my next highest leadership was which was a 7. I passed it. Then it was Carlos's turn. He rolled double 5s for his leadership test, which would have been a fail, but he had 2 re-rolls. So he takes he re-rolls it and he passes it. Which was so crazy. So crazy. He passes that, he wipes up the last zombies that are out there. And I think that's when he takes out Trillian during his turn. And he takes out he knocks down Lefty. And at this point, the only one I have left, the only guys I got left is the witch and the rat zombie. And Lefty, who's knocked down. And the next highest leadership was the rat with 7. And I failed. Carlos made me route. Carlos won the campaign. He got an original metal blister pit fighter, Mordheim pit fighter. Such an awesome little prize. And also Glen made a cool trophy too, which is really nice. So it was just really awesome. Ruben ended up facing off. I thought he was going to face off against Kevin and the Orcs, but instead he faced off against Mike's Dwarves. And Mike had I don't know if he had 1 or 2 relics, but Mike ended up losing. And I think after all the games, and then also the Stefan's Pirates had to take their wagon. They had to try to escape. He had a chance of winning too, and he played against Kevin and Maverick. Kevin and Maverick kind of like were on either side of the board, the long edges, and Stefan started at the short edge, and he had to go all the way across. And apparently, it was a pretty exciting game. But a single shot from a bow, I think from a goblin, at the wagon, disabled it or something for a couple turns, and that was enough to get them to stop the wagon from getting off the board. Otherwise he would have won, and then there would have had to be a playoff between him and Carlos, but he didn't get it, so it's Carlos for sure the winner. And so the last game, obviously, as I said, we had to get this Demon Prince out. Ruben painted up this glorious, like Nurgle Demon Prince model. So sick looking. Lots of detail, beautiful color. Just outstanding model. So he took that, and he took his witch, or whatever she is, the spellcaster that Marauders have. And everybody else just took any 2 units they wanted for their warband. Obviously, my 2 strongest are not necessarily my vampire and my necromancer, but thematically, that was who I had to take. I had to bring a necromancer, egging on Vivian as a last-ditch effort to kill this Demon Prince. This game was really fun. So the Demon Prince is just so hard to kill. He's hard to hit with this cloud of flies. Got a bunch of wounds, super high toughness, resilience, strength, and mighty blow. I mean, armored out the wazoo because he has all the chaos relics, which also offers a magic save, a 4-up, basically invulnerable anti-magic save. And the Broadsword of the Damned, which if you recall, if you kill somebody with a crit with that weapon, they become a chaos spawn who fights on behalf of the Marauders. So at first, it was just the witch and the Demon Prince, and we thought, okay, we got a decent shot. There's like I think there's 10 total models against this Demon Prince and this one spellcaster, which they were both very. The spellcaster was no joke either. I mean, she has this like 12-inch aura spell that causes, I think, a strength 3 hit, and Ruben just couldn't do anything with her. She ended up getting chopped down pretty early on. First move, the Demon Prince kind of flew up onto a platform, and then second turn, it charged this helpless little halfling cook that Maverick brought for some reason. Killed it with a crit. Then it got charged by a couple guys, killed one of them with a crit. So now he may have lost the spellcaster. Now he has 2 spawns. Then I think one of Stefan's pirates gets in there. Or no, I'm sorry, Kevin's orc on a boar gets in there, and they get into a fight, but we don't end it. We just, they just fight like normal. And the orc gets chopped down with a crit, 3 spawns. At that point, he got another crit kill, and we just said, no more spawns. 3 spawns is enough. This game is going to take long enough as it is. Enough. Plus, we also realized nobody could hurt this thing. Like, it was just not going to die. Except for one person. The only person that could seem to hurt the Demon Prince was Father Ehrlich, the necromancer, with his lifesteal spell. So he got up there as quick as he could. He got on a platform and he got within the 6-inch range of the Demon Prince. But I wasn't certain, and Vivian charged the Demon Prince and immediately died to reaction attacks. This Demon Prince is gnarly. And she did nothing. She couldn't touch it. I unfortunately I misread the distance. I didn't think the Demon Prince was quite close enough, so I tried to do lifesteal from one of the possessed, which was just a little bit closer. And I did successfully steal the wound, bringing the Necromancer up to 2. But unfortunately, the Demon Prince was also within 6 inches. And if I had done it, it would have been excellent. And you'll figure out why in a bit. So as every round of combat's going through, I'm not doing any moving. I'm not doing any fighting. I'm literally just, when it's our turn, and we all acted as one against all of us players against the Demon Prince, just acted as one team or whatever. So our turn, all I did was I rolled the lifesteal spell, needing a 9, or the first one I need a 7. But everyone after that I needed a 9. So the first one I got, then it was another turn. I did it. I stole one from the Demon Prince. Our next turn, I stole another wound from the Demon Prince. And then the Demon Prince charged me because he was finally done fighting everything in close combat, and he's got flight, so he just charged me. So I have at this point stolen 3 wounds total. Unfortunately, only 2 from the Demon Prince. The Demon Prince has 3. If I had targeted it with that first one, I would have probably knocked it down, because in close combat I did the spell, I knocked it down. So I probably would have knocked it down earlier. It would have been further away, and I would have been able to do it again. Ultimately, in combat, I somehow survived the reaction test. I mean, not somehow, because I have 4 wounds. I have no armor, so he only managed to do 2 wounds to me, so I still had 2 left. And then casted the spell again, went off, and failed. So I took the last wound, knocked him down. In close combat, I still needed a 6 to hit it, and I didn't. Then the next turn, Mike's dwarves were finally in range. This is turn 5, maybe. So he's finally in range. He's slowest moving, and he started, and the Demon Prince moved like immediately 24 inches away from him in his first 2 moves. So it took even longer for the dwarves to get there. So the dwarf slayer or leader, or whomever, charged the Demon Prince. I got to do my spell again. I failed. The troll got the kill. The troll slayer got the kill. All he needed to do was like cause a wound and get a good out of action and all. And sure enough, he took it out of action. And it was kind of annoying because Necromancer here had taken 3 wounds from this thing and had done all of the work against it. And then this troll slayer just waltzes up with his stumpy little legs and chops his head off. Just felt really rude, you know. But it was a lot of fun. It's a great little final wrap up to the campaign. Uh, you know, all props in the world go to Glen for organizing this and keeping all the data together. You know, just running the show every month. And basically twice in a month, because they also do makeup games on the weeks that we don't play, on the weekends we don't play. So he's just putting in so much work into this thing. It's really appreciated and impressive. So yeah, I mean, unbelievable campaign. I love the Bordertown Burning concept and the setting. It was so cool. Next, we've got the Skirmish Con happening in, I think, late February. So the next campaign, next Orlando campaign, which is going to be focused on halflings, dwarves, halflings, dwarves, and goblins. So that's where I'm bringing the Smurfs, who are going to be run as night goblins. That starts in March. So between now and then, we're probably going to do like one-off days. Some of the guys mentioned maybe coming to Tampa for a day. That'd be awesome. But you know, yeah, this was awesome. So really glad to be a part of it. Thanks to everybody that contributed. I mean, the terrain we got to play on, all the other warband paints are just amazing. So engaging. Just really cool experience, and I greatly appreciate it. So that's it. That wraps up the 2025 Orlando Bordertown Burning campaign. As far as I'm concerned, I guess I'll probably do this again for the next one. Thanks for listening.